Hi, I'm Niall Lucas,
Hi, I'm Karen Deloach.
and this is Coaching 101 Space for Growth, Accountability, and Transformation, where insight meets action and people learn to move forward with purpose. How are you,
Yeah,
Miss Karen?
I'm good. This is a great topic. I love this topic. Today's
So, what
topic.
will be our topic for today, Miss Karen, on Coaching 101?
We're talking about the role of emotional intelligence in coaching. So, what is emotional intelligence? Now, one of the things that my husband and I have done coaching for years, and I've been an art teacher and coach for decades, is we become coaches because we need coaching, right?
Yes.
I've taken lots of lessons about how to coach and how to be a better coach, but I really think that this is one of the key elements to coaching is the role of emotional intelligence. So, what is emotional intelligence? So it's an ability, and I think a lot of people that are drawn to coaching have this ability to they recognize, understand, and manage their own emotions, and they're very self-aware. And it gives them insight on how to help their clients manage their emotions and how to drive performance into growth. So besides being self-aware and self-management, which is relating to how we react under pressure, we're also looking for social awareness, picking up on visual and non-visual cues, and relationship management, which is building trust and navigating communication. So these are four pillars of emotional intelligence, and we're going to talk about these different ways that we can walk in emotional intelligence.
Certainly. Emotional intelligence is the invisible architecture of effective coaching. It determines whether a session becomes transformational or merely conversational. While frameworks provide structure, emotional intelligence provides depth. A coach who understands emotions, understands human behavior without it, technique feel mechanical and trust remains shallow.
That's very good. It's not a soft skill. It's almost like a coaching superpower, because when you have this kind of ability to discern emotions and how to manage them, and you're able to transfer this knowledge and understanding and help your clients do so, then it is so transformative. It helps people in every way in their life, with their work, with their relationships, with their social standing. And there's a lot of people that are struggling right now. They're on the spectrum. They're struggling with their ability to discern how to react in situations that are stressful and how to manage their own feelings, their own emotions. And so when you have a coach who operates in the ability and how to find this emotional intelligence, it's very, very powerful.
Indeed, powerful. At its core, emotional intelligence begins with self awareness. A coach must recognize their own emotional patterns before attempting to navigate someone else. If a client's resistance triggers impatience, that reaction must be examined, not projected. Internal clarity prevents external distortion. The coach's emotional maturity sets the ceiling for the client's growth.
That's good. And it's something that can be developed. It's something you can intentionally develop. And this is what good coaches help you do, is to
Mhm.
find ways to both become self-aware. What are these feelings? What's percolating underneath the way that I feel? Why am I angry? Why am I sad? Why am I fearful? Why am I glad? Why am I full of joy? What drives these emotions is part of this self-awareness. So that's the first step, as Daniel's describing, of understanding, wow, I'm really happy right now. this is good. What's making me happy? What is happening outside and inside that if right now, right here in this moment, I feel really happy. And these are things that we learn to recognize and how to understand them, both as a strength or as a limitation. And so when we want to be and remain present in the moment with non-judgmental feelings towards ourselves or for others, then we can help then with the second step, which is self-regulation.
People's self regulation is stabilizing force within emotionally intelligence coaching. Clients often arrive carrying anxiety, frustration, grief, or confusion. The coach must become a calmest nervous system in the room. Stability creates psychological safety. When the coach remains grounded, the client feels permitted to explore the deeper truth.
That's so good. And that's part of the secret of good coaching is helping someone manage these emotions effectively, even when they're
Mhm.
under the pressure that anxiety can give, our culture can give us. And in being thoughtful rather than impulsive and acting rather than reacting. And for coaches, this means creating, as Daniel's describing, this kind of safety, a calm space where they can feel heard and seen and fully supported right where they are.
Fully supported. And if you supported your clients, you have supposed to have empathy. Empathy is not agreement, it's accurate understanding. An emotional intelligent coach listens beyond words to tone, pace, and silence. Empathy allows the coach to validate emotion without endorsing unproductive behavior. It communicates I see you without saying you are right. That balance builds credibility and trust simultaneously.
It also sees it and doesn't say, "You're wrong," right?
I
It's trying to
know.
be non-judgmental where you can see it and you understand it, and you're not making the client feel either, you know, twisted in what the response should be or can be. That empathy helps you, as Daniel says, see underneath. And so
Mhm.
with that inner drive that the client is feeling, which could be fueled by passion, we try to imbue it with purpose and not any negative responses of fear and anxiety and those kind of things, but being in a situation where they're being motivated to find their purpose in the moment and in the circumstance and stay engaged in their own growth.
Very well said, Miss Karen. Emotional intelligence transforms listening into investigative skill. A shift in breathing, a sudden laugh, or a tightened jaw may reveal more than spoken language. Skilled coaches us notice these microsignals. They ask precise, curious questions instead of making assumptions. Awareness of emotional cues often unlocks hidden barriers.
That's really good. I've had the privilege of teaching art, and one of the courses that I teach is ceramics. And when I've had students that were really struggling with communication and their verbal ability to express themselves, having them come into the studio and either work with their hands doing clay or using paint or utensils for drawing and painting, where they can express things non-verbally in a way that communicates outside of themselves has been so amazing to watch people be set free and brought into healing when they were able to express themselves in a different way. And so the coaching can happen in these verbal situations, but for some people, they need something beyond the verbal to find expression. And that is takes wisdom on the part of the coach to know if this is a season, because many coaches utilize drawing, painting, the visual, all kinds of ways to help a person get in touch with their feelings and be able to express the truth of what is the underlying motivation of these feelings. Can't hear you.
Thank you for that, Ms. Karen. In coaching, emotions is data. Frustration may signal misalignment. Fear may indicate risk tied to growth. Avoidance often projects identity. An emotional intelligence coach treats feeling as diagnostic indicators rather than disruptions. This referring turns emotional reactions into opportunities for insight.
Yeah, and this insight does require what Daniel's been talking about, deep listening, where you're listening beyond what the words are to what's going on underneath. You're listening beyond words to hear the tone as he's described it, the pauses, a sense of what's underlying. And these are the things that coaches with high emotional intelligence are able to do, using the emphatic listening that we've talked about, finding the insights to what is going on with this client, and also asking these kind of questions he's talking about that are emotionally attuned to what their counselee really needs to express. It's reading between the lines, if you would, noticing the nonverbal cues and seeing emotional shifts. It's all really part of emotional intelligence.
Certainly, and people, if you have emotional intelligence, you need to have accountability because accountability requires emotional intelligence to be effective. Direct challenges without emotional awareness can feel like criticism. Conversely, excessive empathy without challenge enables stagnation. The art lies in confronting behavior while honoring dignity. This discipline, compassion in action.
That's beautiful. Because, respecting someone's dignity is foremost for helping them feel safe and honored, and their pain not trivialized, but to be respected, whatever they've been experiencing, giving them the freedom to be vulnerable, to express things maybe they've never said out loud to anybody in their life, and which inevitably can lead to the kind of change and healing and growth that the person is looking for. This is all part of the power of operating in emotional intelligence.
Certainly, Ms. Karen, emotional intelligence is especially critical in leadership coaching. Leaders influence systems, cultures, and morale through their emotional patterns. Unmanaged stress cascades in team dysfunction. Regulated leadership foster charity and cohesion. Coaches must help leaders identify how the internal state shapes external performance.
That's really good. How to have more leadership like this, that have this kind of emotional intelligence, because it helps people really take ownership of their own growth. When you're given this kind of freedom and safety to explore and to try and to move forward, then you're really going to have a kind of growth you didn't know was possible. And there's a lot of healing in it, and a lot of incredible future good bonding that can happen in their bigger part of their life when these things, and they're made more aware of what's going on inside of themselves, then they can kind of coach themselves and gain in their own emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence, indeed. Conflict often reveals the limit of emotional intelligence. When tensions rise, the coach must slow the pace rather than accelerate it. Lowering vocal intensity and asking grounding questions recalibrates the session. Emotional containment precedes rational problem solving. A regulated space invites reflective thinking.
It does. And, a really high, highly emotionally intelligent coach or leader can notice when someone that they're working with is shutting down. Maybe they're responding to feedback and shutting down instead of it helping them grow. Then they can pause and really explore why these emotions are surfacing rather than a positive response to the feedback. And so the coach senses their hesitation and in their voice and in their tone, and then gently ask questions perhaps that reveal the underlying doubt, creating a space for deeper exploration.
And deeper and deeper indeed. Uh, Somatic awareness enhances emotional literacy. We talked about somatic coaching last episode. So emotions register the body before they articulated in language. Tight your shoulders or shallow breathing may signal suppressed stress. Asking a client where they feel tension increase awareness. The body often reveals what mind attempts to conceal.
That's really powerful. Right now, we're in the Winter Olympic season around the world, and we see some athletes that come into these Olympic Games at the height of their abilities. They've been winning competitions, they've been meeting all their goals, and then they come into the Olympics and they fall, or they just the stress is too much. They have like a burnout, an emotional burnout. They push, and then you have others that are like the underdogs and they're not expected to win, and bang, they just have the best routines or performances of their lives in front of that. It all comes together. And I hear a lot of them talking about how their coaches help them recognize if maybe they're in burnout. Maybe they came there already having a cost from such high performing, and they needed some pullback, some rest, and maybe staying away from the media so they don't get that pressure put on them, and to somehow finding ways that they can sustain the success without feeling that negative pressure. And it's a beautiful thing when you see an athlete perform on the world stage like the Olympics, and they do their best, and it's life changing, life affirming. But most of us will never be to the Olympics. We're not even dealing with Olympic level problems, but it still can feel that way, can it, Daniel?
Certainly, Ms. Karen, as we are saying, emotional intelligence also guards against bias. Coaches brings personal histories, cultural assumptions, and live experience into sessions. Without self-reflections, those experiences may distort interruption. Awareness prevent projection, objectivity that clients autonomy. And also growth requires emotional vocabulary. Many clients struggle to name what they feel. A coach with a high emotional intelligence help expand this language. When feelings are named, they become manageable. Clarity reduces emotional overwhelm.
It scientists have discovered the truth of what these coaches with high emotional intelligence have already been able to prove, is that self-awareness and emotional regulation enhance decision making and
Mhm.
resilience. We are stronger. The critical factors in personal and professional growth are absolutely being enhanced through this kind of self-awareness and self-management.
Certainly. So emotional intelligence accelerates transformation because it reaches the root rather than the symptom. Behavioral goals often fail when underlying emotions remain unresolved. By understanding fear, shame, or insecurity, deeper alignment emerges. Sustainable change flow from emotional integration. The coach becomes a facilitator of insight, not a merely strategies. Ultimately, emotional intelligence is the foundation of relational trust. Trust allows vulnerability, and vulnerability enables growth. Technical skill may impress, but emotional presence inspires commitment. The most effective coaches are not merely knowledgeable, they are attuned. Emotional intelligence turns coaching into a catalyst for lasting transformation.
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. And it is a skill. So that means if you don't feel like you're good at it, you can learn. You can develop this as a skill. You can find ways that can cultivate and refine this ability. You practice self-reflection and be continually learning how to manage emotions. And you'll find even keeping a journal helps. I know it helps me to keep track of what's going on inside and outside by writing things down. It can help you build this skill.
Mm. Build the skill for sure. So, Miss Karen, would you like to plug in something?
Yes, Daniel. Daniel is a podcast superstar, and I have the privilege to work with him in 4 podcasts. So, besides Coaching 101, we also have Bible Verses 101 that we do, and we do love letters together. This is a long term podcast that Daniel has developed where we respond to letters and questions we get from our listeners about relationship issues. So, please listen to these. And our newest one is Positive Parenting. And it is live Saturdays. We're going to do this next right now. And then it will be on wherever you watch and listen to your podcast very soon.
Yes, people, please support us because we are making our podcast bigger, better, and bolder every episode that we are doing. And for sure, we will do more episodes in the future. And Miss Karen, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, it is my privilege to do so, Daniel. And listeners, remember, we love you. God bless you.
Welcome, people. See you soon.